Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we're going to be checking out some Battlesector again because it's the 5th anniversary. Yeah, Battlesector's been here with us for a fair amount of time and is still getting consistent updates and even DLC launches. And our friends from Southern have asked me if I want to do a video talking about my favorite units from each of the factions. This is sponsored by themselves, which I appreciate. Thank you guys. So let's talk about my favorite units in each of the factions. Which, I mean, you guys know me quite well. You probably already know which units those are going to be, especially since I've streamed this game quite often. Before that, there is a Steam sale going on right now. In case you guys want to jump in if you haven't before, it's at a very good price, including the DLCs too, just in case you want to pick up some factions, which I quite like the Tau. And the Astra Militarum one is very fun if you like some long range or just a lot of gunpowder. So we'll go by order of the faction releases, and the first one is of course the Blood Angels, the launch faction. I'm going to start off with the Baal Predator, or really any Predator. I really enjoy Predator tanks, love them on the tabletop. It's a bit of a shame that they're basically going away as the repulsors become more of the norm. They're highly durable tanks, very good shooting. You can have them up front and personal without having to worry too much thanks to the storm bolters attached to it. I'll admit this unit isn't just because it is a Predator, but also the fact that it is a firstborn unit. Obviously, the Blood Angels have a lot of firstborn units, but we're slowly getting there in the 40k setting that the firstborns are being phased out. So it's really good to see that this game will remain with them. Tyranids up next, and we're going to talk about the Hive Tyrant, because who doesn't love a big synapse creature with wings, with a venom cannon, and also very good at melee. These big beasties are just prime Tyranids, but I must admit this was very difficult to write for, because I am a very big fan of Tyranids. I've actually been building up some Tyranids for a little Hive Fleet behemoth force. Obviously you'll want your Hive Tyrant surrounded by some normal creatures, but don't you worry, while it is a big target, it can take a decent amount of hits, and as you can see on screen, it can do a lot of damage, even to the most durable of Necron units. Hive Tyrants are cool, Hive Tyrants with wings, even better. Necron's next with the Hexmark Destroyer, a newer style unit, but very, very cool. So this is a faster moving unit with a lot of gunpowder on it. You can expend your movement just to be even better at shooting with more critical chances. And this means that you can just take out swarms of units without too much of a problem. Design-wise, I mean, Necrons just look great, right? But like design-wise, the Hexmark Destroyer is freaking awesome. I am such a huge fan. Adeptus Storytus next, so Sisters of Battle, for those who remember the more classic name. By the way, this DLC had a story DLC attached to it, and with that, it's the Penitent Engine. It's just, it freaks me out. I love it. Basically, you can still be kind of like loyal, and they can find something that you've done wrong, and here you go. You're basically put into their own version of the Dreadnought, and it's there to hurt you while you're still carrying out the Emperor's bidding. I just love it, and it groans and everything. It's good for melee, it's got flamers. Mind you, Sisters of Battle, there's going to be a lot of flamers anyway. And yeah, no, it's perfect. When I think of 40k, I usually think of a Penitent Engine. Demons of Khorne were the first introduction to anything Chaos, and they were turned into just a sub-faction. It's a cheaper DLC because some of the Khorne stuff was already in the game. Which I like. It's a better way of doing these kind of like faction launches. So, the Demons of Khorne, it's the Blood Crushers. I adore Blood Crushers. They're hard, they're heavy, and they do a lot of damage. This is a full melee-based faction. You do have skull cannons though, but the idea with the Blood Crushers is you send them off in a charge, let them just rip apart everything, sometimes even killing out a full unit in one charge, whilst also hurting others. You can plan your charge as well. You can really hurt the enemies. Orcs now, and this one's a fun one because it's both one of my favorite units to use and also the one that I absolutely hate fighting against, because the war bikes are very mobile. You can make them quite evasive so they won't take a lot of hits when it comes to shooting, and then when you put them up there, they can do some big damage, whether you're hitting just some very basic enemies or if you're trying to snipe out a character with a bunch of melee attacks. I really like the war bikes, and every time I end up fighting against the greenskins, yeah, I kind of fear it. I don't know why. I had some bad luck once through a game that there was just, I think it was actually during a stream, there were like 5 war bikes and they were demolishing me. The damage output is fantastic and definitely a unit that you want to use. Tau was a tough one to pick. You see, I play Tau on the tabletop, so I really struggled picking one here. I like them all. but the Riptide battlesuit is probably the best one. It's large, in charge, obviously not that great at moving. You know, with the Tau, you want to be a little bit careful about getting stuck in melee, but you got very, very high firepower. If you've got all your Tau together and you're just kind of pinpointing your enemies down, you can destroy them before they even get to you. The Riptide does that and more with its high burst cannon and also its attached sponson weapons. But as per usual, don't get bogged down on melee because the Tau do suffer. Astra Militarum, also known as the Imperial Guard, and this one was a no-brainer, the Basilisk. So for those of you who remember the days with Pask on the tabletop, having the extra fire, yeah, that was glorious, and it's nice to see that it basically works the same way here too. Very, very long range, I think up to like 15 squares. It's it's one of your very heavy duty long range weapons, and it works incredibly well if you're just trying to get a decent amount of guardsmen to the front line to hold everything down, tanks on the mid, and then the Basilisk really far back to be able to provide some supporting fire. The great thing too is even with weird terrain like here, it's still able to fire. This is a supporting gun. It can be practically anywhere. Chaos Space Marines with the Black Legion, and another no-brainer for those who like chaos like myself. So, Terminators. I mean, what's not to love, right? You've got some very strong melee with the Power Fist, you've got the Bolt Gun and the Combi Plasma there too, so very good against tank and armor. They can also teleport, which gets them right into the fray. They're very durable. Yeah, Chaos Terminators are great. Like, yeah. This is why I've got a fair amount of them for my own army of Red Corsairs on the tabletop, because you just want Termies in. A goated unit. Mind you, a lot of the Chaos roster is just really, really strong. It's just learning how to use them in synergy. And then finally for the Ultramarines, the most recent DLC, which brings in a bunch of Primaris units to the fray, it's the Ballistus Dreadnought. This is a heavy, heavy firepower. You got the twin-linked las cannon, the missile launcher, and a storm bolter, because, you know, sometimes you just need a little bit of extra firepower. This unit excels for taking down big targets and also focusing around hordes of units in case you need to use your missiles on a horde of Termagants or Hormagants. Big fan of these guys. Essentially, the Redemptor series of Dreadnoughts have always been kind of cool, and they're extremely varied. And the punch with the las cannons is always really good to deal with some large targets. I must admit I was surprised when they announced an Ultramarines DLC, considering that we already have some Primaris units and the rest. But it's good to see that both Space Marine factions play quite differently. So you've got the variety. You've got the more standardized approach with the Ultramarines, or you can go into a lot of heavy melee with the Blood Angels. With that being said, those are one of my favorite units for each faction available in Battlesector. Hopefully, we won't be too long until we hear about some other DLCs or extra plans that Slytherin have for this title. It's certainly looking like it's getting a lot of support, and it's always great to see a long-standing Warhammer game. A big thank you once again to Slytherin for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day, guys. Bye.